Good morning, class 8. As you can see, we are going to watch a short video presentation that I have prepared for you to explain some of the important points in chapter 16, light. Please get ready with your own text and pencil. I know you will find some important points to underline. Okay. First of all, what makes things visible? Have you ever thought how we see various objects? How we see? You may think that we see with our eyes, but can you see in the dark? No, right? We cannot see anything in the dark. This means that eyes alone cannot see any object. It is only when light from the object enters our eyes that we see the object. The light may have been emitted by that object or it may have been reflected by it, which means the light can come from another source and is reflected by the object. You have also learned in class 7 that a polished or a shiny surface can act as a mirror. A mirror changes the direction of light that falls on it. Can you tell in which direction the light falling on the surface will be reflected? Let's find out. So reflection is very important. In this chapter, we are going to learn a little bit about reflection. Okay, we see when light falls on the object or is reflected by it, right? So there are laws of reflection. The first law of reflection given in our textbook is the angle of incidence is always equal to the angle of reflection. What is angle of incidence and what is angle of reflection? Let's try to find this out. Okay, I will give you one picture. It's also in your textbook. It is in activity 16.1. Here, if you fix a sheet of paper on the table like it is shown here and take a comb and close all the openings of the comb with a strip of black paper and except one in the middle, alay pakhat ka opening kan siya mga adang zong ka kan close vek doni kan tithim vek doni. Hold the comb perpendicular to the sheet of paper like it is shown here and throw a light from a torch. Throw a light yam za chu kan chhun don ani atnung lama changin. And from the opening of the comb you will see a strip of light coming from the opening of the comb. Okay, if you cannot see, you may need to slightly adjust the torch and the comb. Also, the ray of light will be visible on the sheet of paper. Keep the comb and the torch steady. Now place a strip of plain mirror in the path of the light ray. Ka light ray kal ko nga kanin mirror kanda donani. Mirror kan handa tia kanin light ray in mirror avasik tia kanin reflection alo donani. Aron reflect ka plain sheet of paper kan alang donani. Ti chuan incident ray kan ti ber chu eng hinge ni tang le incident ray chu torchlight achanga torch light kan chuna changa comb changa light ray lo lang chua ka kha incident ray chu ani. And the light ray that comes back from the mirror is the reflected ray. Kan siya thiam ti ro. Okay, ani chuan normal kan ti hi enge ni tang le. Okay, here is another picture. Now you will have to make lines using a pencil or a marker. Mirror na lai taka khanin I kan draw don ani. Okay? Ti chuanin mirror kan lason thei ta ni mirror na lai kan draw kan chin sia to chuan. And then you will also need to draw the incident ray on the paper. Paper ra incident ray kan ti kha kan draw anga. Ti chuan reflected ray kha kan draw bok don ani. ti chuan hetiang hian alo lang dawn ta ni paper ah khan ti chuan comb te mirror te light te kan la sawn thei ta. Okay, so normal chu alai taka line kan draw kha normal chu ni dawn ta ni engtin nge kan draw you will take 90 degree from the mirror, okay, from the line representing the mirror chu om tolo ma se line mirror om na la ya kan draw to a kha line atang khanin 90 degree in line kan draw anga ti chuan alai taka alo om dawn ta ni incident ray na mirror azuk signal taka chang khan kan draw anga chu normal to the reflecting surface ani dawn ani ti chuan incident ray normal le reflected ray kan nei ta ni. So the angle between the normal and the incident ray is called the angle of incidence. And the angle between the normal and the reflected ray is known as the angle of reflection. Okay. Angle lak dan kan thiam vek to a. Okay, if you measure the angle of incidence and the angle of reflection, if you want, you can repeat this activity several times by changing the angle of incidence. Angle of incidence kami light ron kal na ka han thak kwal velina omna han thak ma ila angle kha kan angle of incidence le angle of reflection kha kan te zelanga you will find out that the angle of incidence is always equal to the angle of reflection. Kami angle pani kha ai nang cha cha sel don ani. This is the law of reflection. Okay. I hope we all understand. So the second law of reflection is the incident ray, the normal at the point of incidence, and the reflected ray all lie in the same plane. Ray pathum kan draw ta ka they all lie in the same plane. Okay, same plane means they are all shown and seen in a flat surface. Okay, if the surface is not flat, then the rays will not be visible. Okay, so wangin hey incident ray le normal le reflected ray hi flat surface they all lie in the same plane nani. Okay, chuanin alem kan huang hian like it is shown in the picture. When you make reflection of light, first you will see that the plain paper is projected a little beyond the edge of the table, which means table pel shet khan paper kha anda a. Okay, and then you will again see that the reflection is seen and the incident ray and the reflected ray is seen on the plain paper. Now cut the paper which lies beyond the table, which lies beyond the edge of the table, like so, like in the picture. Do kan pel china paper om khan han cut deva. If you bend the paper downwards, ay in cut chin kha nuai lama han bend han ditlhep ta dei ula. You will see that the reflection of light, the reflected ray, will not be able to show in the paper which is bent downwards. Paper nuai lama a in bent thak khanin reflection kha alang thei ta reng lavani. Omzia chu paper a flat chin chawa khan alang thei kha reflection kha a chuk thave thei lavani. This shows the second law of reflection, that the incident ray, the normal and the point of incidence, and the reflected ray, they all lie in only one plane, only in the same plane, in a flat surface. Okay? Chuwangin reflection kha ama in a in bent very ngot theilawa. Mo flat surface at so alang thei di nani. So these are the two laws of reflection. Please, you have to learn this by heart. Okay. The first law, the angle of incidence is always equal to the angle of reflection, and the second law, the incident ray, the normal at the point of incidence, and the reflected ray all lie in the same plane. Okay, so there, you may also recall that in an image formed by a mirror, the left of the object appears on the right and the right appears on the left. This is known as lateral inversion. Okay, and there can be regular and diffuse reflection. Diffuse also means irregular reflection. Okay, regular and irregular reflection. Reflection om thele reflection lang thelo hi om beni. The two kinds of reflection is dependent on the surface of the object where the light hits. Okay, light na ava seek ava hit na surface ka amam le wazirin reflection ka danglam theni. Ma se loss of reflection ka chu about chuang lavani. Okay. So if light reflects on a flat surface like a mirror, the reflection will always be in the same or in a flat and same direction. Okay, but if the surface is rough, that means if the surface is not smooth, like maybe a cardboard or a paper or any of that sort, like table like that, then reflection will not be seen in proper direction. They will not be able to make a proper reflection. Okay, this is only because of the surface where the light strikes. Okay, so wangin reflection of light, angle of incidence, angle of reflection teka ay in ang di anisi ay nga tinge reflection hi alan vek thelo a chan chu a surface ka a smooth lo a zirin ti nani loss of reflection kha chu ati boy pha lo ani. So there can be regular reflection or irregular reflection. Okay, and reflected light can also be reflected again. Okay, in page 203 16.4 ta khanin kha alema kan hmua hairdresser shop a chuanin kan hnunglam sam kha light khanin a han hmuh tir vela. Okay, this can happen because light can be reflected again. Okay, and there can be multiple images formed. Image hitam tapo a formed thayani tinani. We can see an example using a kaleidoscope. What is a kaleidoscope? In page 204 in activity 16.6, we can also make our own kaleidoscope. Okay, if you have these cardboards, strips of mirror, and some disc and pieces of plastics, if you have all these things available with you, you can also make your own kaleidoscope. Okay, so to make a kaleidoscope, get three rectangular mirror strips about 15 centimeter long and 4 centimeter wide each. Join them together to form a prism as shown here. Okay, fix them in a circular cardboard tube or tube of a thick chart paper. Make sure that the tube is slightly longer than the mirror strips. You will see here. Close one end of the tube with a cardboard disc having a hole in the center, okay, through which you can see. To make the disc durable, paste a piece of transparent plastic sheet under the cardboard disc. At the other end, touching the mirrors, fix a circular plain glass plate. Place on this glass plate several small pieces of colored glass or broken pieces of colored bangles or anything, and close this end of the tube with a ground glass plate. Allow each space for the color pieces to move around. Hi kaleidoscope mani kan siam thei dan chu ni alema changin kan che thiam mai ome. Your kaleidoscope is ready. When you peep through the hole, you will be able to see a variety of patterns in the tube. Okay? An interesting feature of kaleidoscope is that you will never see the same pattern again. Designers of wallpapers and fabrics and artists use kaleidoscopes to get ideas for new patterns. To make yours attractive, you can use colored paper like this. Image reflection hi. Shang Okay. If you have time, please make your own kaleidoscope. It will be fun. So what is inside our eyes? I will read from your text. Please look at the picture. The eye has a roughly spherical shape. The outer coat of the eye is white. It is tough so it can protect the interior of the eye from accidents. Its transparent front part is called cornea. Okay? Behind the cornea, we find a dark muscular structure called iris. In the iris, there is a small opening called the pupil. The size of the pupil is controlled by the iris. The iris is that part of the eye which gives it its distinctive color. Okay? When we say that a person has green eyes, we refer actually to the color of the iris. The iris controls the amount of light entering into the eye. Kan mit mu kan ti light alu tamle tamlo control tu. Nai de wala kan han ina kan mit mudum lai alo lian alo te the kan ti chin kha. Actually, it is the iris. Okay. Iris zok ka kan mit mu ka che ni lovin a covering a iris zok ka khan alo che zok ani. Okay. Behind the pupil of the eye is a lens which is thicker in the center. What kind of lens is thicker at the center? Recall what you learned about lenses in class 7. The lens focuses light on the back of the eye on a layer called retina. Nung lampa nga. Azo focus ta ni light load ka. Retina oma. Retina contains several nerve cells. Sensation felt by the nerve cells are then transmitted to the brain through the optic nerve. Mit mu kami chung lam nung lama khan nerve cells tam tak oma khanin light alu dana zir khanin nerve cells khanin kan brain a transmit tani information kha ti chuan kan brain mang khanin image kha alo inform the china ti chuan kan muthei the china ni. There are two kinds of cells. Nerve cells a khanin chi ni oma cones le rods oma. Cones are the ones which are sensitive to bright light and rods which are sensitive to dim light. And besides cones sense color. Cones le rods nerve cells khan oma cones khanin bright light of mutheya color ka sense thayani color kan muthayna ni chu at the junction of the optic nerve and the retina. Optic nerve chu I kan brain na nerve kalze la khania kan muthayanga at the back of the eye. Okay, and kamile retina in kara khanin there is no sensory cells, so no vision is possible at that spot. This is called the blind spot. Okay, blind spot here exists retina le optic nerve in kara khanin sense engma sense thelo cells oma and sensory cells engma omlova chuwang chuanin like a blind spot anti chinani. Okay, activity 16.9 khalo chair ula in shatiam in uluk takin lo tsar ula lo practice tin ula in shatiam mayang oh. Okay, so our eyes is very complicated and it is so important. So we should take care of our eyes, okay? In 16.8, there are many points given to us on how to take care of our eyes. So please read that very, very carefully. And please do take care of your eyes. Okay. Nowadays, we use our eyes so much. We strain our eyes so much. So there can be many complications. So please do take care of your eyes. Um, Braille te karon in Ziaka. I know you can read that by yourself, so I will leave that up to you. And there are still other things that I have missed out, which I will leave to you to read by yourself. Please do read your textbook again. If you have to, please watch the video again and please underline the important points that we have explained in this video, and do try to do the activities given in your textbook as well. So that is all for today. I thank you very much for watching. Thank you all, and please stay safe.